Oh, hello there. I'm Bilchan.
I'm Nimikung.
I'm Banchan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you. Chapter 11, Section 3 of the picture of Dorian Gray.
S.
Ah.
The picture of Dorian Gray. Oscar Wilde. Chapter 11, Section 3. There are a few of us who have not sometimes wakened before dawn, either after one of those dreamless nights that make us almost enamoured of death, or one of those nights of horror and misshapen joy, when through the chambers of the brain sweep phantoms more terrible than reality itself, and instinct with that vivid life that lurks in old growth schools, and that lends to Gothic art its enduring vitality. This art being, one might fancy, especially the art of those whose minds have been troubled with the malady of reverie. Gradually white fingers creep through the curtains, and they appear to tremble in black fantastic shapes. Dim shadows crawl into the corners of the room and crouch there. Outside, there is the stirring of birds among the leaves, or the sound of men going forth to their work, or the sigh and sob of the wind coming down from the hills and wandering on the silent house, as though it feared to wake the sleepers and yet must needs go with sleep from her purple cave. Veil after veil of thin dusky gauze is lifted, and by degrees the forms and colours of things are restored to them, and we watch the dawn remaking the world in its antique pattern. The wan mirrors get back their mimic life. The flameless tapers stand where we had left them, and beside them lies the half-cut book that we had been studying, or the wired flower that we had worn at the ball, or the letter that we had been afraid to read, or that we have read too often. Nothing seems to us changed. Out of the unreal shadows of the night comes back the real life that we had known. We have to resume it where we had left off, and there steals over us a terrible sense of the necessity for the continuance of energy in the same wearisome round of stereotyped habits, or a wild longing, it may be, that our eyelids might open some morning upon a world that had been refashioned anew, in the darkness for our pleasure, a world in which things would have fresh shapes and colours, and be changed, or have other secrets, a world in which the past would have little or no place, or survive, at any rate, in no conscious form of obligation or regret. The remembrance even of joy having its bitterness and the memories of pleasure their pain. It was the creation of such worlds as these that seemed to Dorian Gray to be the true object, or amongst the true objects of life, and in his search for sensations that would be at once new and delightful, and possess that element of strangeness that is so essential to romance. He would no doubt certain modes of thought that he knew to be really alien to his nature, abandon himself to their subtle influences, and then Alan, as it were, caught their colour and satisfied his intellectual curiosity, leave them with that curious indifference that is not incompatible with the real ardour of temperament, and that, indeed, according to certain modern psychologists, is often a condition of it. It was rumoured of him once that he was about to join the Roman Catholic communion, and certainly the Roman ritual had always a great attraction for him. The daily sacrifice, more awful really than all the sacrifices of the antique world. Stirred him much by its superb rejection of the evidence of the senses is by the primitive simplicity of its elements and the eternal pathos of the human tragedy. That is ought to symbolize. He loved to kneel down on the cold marble pavement and watch the priest in his stiff Lord Dogmatic, slowly and with white hands moving outside the veil of the tabernacle, or raising aloft the jewelled, lantern-shaped minstrels with that pallid for that at times, one would fain think, is indeed the penny's custis the bread of angels, or robed in the garments of the Passion of Christ, breaking the host into the chalice and smiting his breast for his sins. The fuming scissors that the grave boys, in their lace and scarlet, tossed into the air like great gold flowers, had their subtle fascination for him. As he passed out, he used to look with wonder at the black confessionals and one to sit in the dim shadow of one of them and listen to men and women whispering through the wall, greeting the true story of their lives. But he never fell into the error of arresting his intellectual development by any formal acceptance of creed or system, or mistaking for a house in which to live, and in that is but suitable for the sojourn of a night, or for a few hours of a night in which there are no stars and the moon is in travail. Mysticism, with its marvellous power of making coming things strange to us, and the subtle antinomianism that always seems to accompany it, moved him for a season. For a season he inclined to the materialistic doctrines of the Darwinismist movement in Germany, and found a curious pleasure in tracing the thoughts and fashions of men to some pretty cell in the brain, or some white nerve in the body, delighting in the conception of the absolute dependence of the spirit on certain physical conditions, morbid or healthy, normal or diseased. Yet, as has been said of him before, no theory of life seemed to him to be of any importance compared with life itself. He felt keenly conscious of how barren all intellectual speculation is when separated from action and experiment. He knew that the senses, though less than the soul, have their spiritual mysteries to reveal. To be continued.